10, Ismail Edward. Number 11, Andre Patek. Number 15, Remy Timas. 16, Michael Huri. Number 17, Edward Kyle. Number 23, Brian Avro. And the substitutions for Malampa, the reserve goalkeeper, Naroya Mario. Number 2, Anthony Mann. Number 9, S.A. Hackett. Number 12, Salon Pillai. Number 13, Pedro Reese. Number 18,
Testing, testing. Centre Park, Mangere is the venue. It's the OFC Champions League Group C, match 6 on match day 3. Auckland City FC, the defending champions, the 6-in-a-row champions, play their final match of the group stage of the competition with Vanuatu's Malampa Revivors. This will wrap up the group section of the tournament. We will turn and cast our eyes towards the semi-final draw, which is made on Monday. But there are a few items of housekeeping to take care of. First of all, and Auckland City have to get at least a point from this game to make sure of their semi-final spot. They'll join Team Wellington and AS Magenta if they do, but it's Malampa Revivors in their first ever OFC Champions League campaign who will be out to stop that from happening and finish this stage of the competition on something of a high. It's been difficult for them in the competition so far. They lost the first game to Lay City Dwellers by 5-2. They also put up a pretty brave performance against Western United before succumbing 2-1, and they'll be hoping that Coach Percy Avick has come up with the right formula amongst his players and squad to ensure that they really show the defending champions a thing or two about what they've learned. Let's take a look at the lineup first of all, starting with Auckland City FC. There are a number of changes to report. Takuya Iwata, Cam Howison, Albert Riera, Clayton Lewis, Emiliano Tade and Marco Dordovic have all dropped out. Darren White, Ryan DeVries, Selfie Rogers, Jean Moreira, Mika Leolaf and Harry Edge all get a start for today's game. No surprises in the formation. It's what we've been used to in the Ramon Trebulic era. It's 4-3-3. Harry Edge will play a pivotal role just there at the base of the midfield three. And up front, Jean Moreira, Ryan DeVries and Mika Leolaf will be looking to restore some semblance of form as they go all out for goals. For Malampa Revivors, Coach Percy Avick has decided to shuffle his pack and give players who have not played so far some sort of exposure to Oceania's top-level club competition. Jimmy Lukai comes in for Narul Maliu, who's had an impressive tournament in goal. Walla Jacob gets a start, as do Remy Timas and Brian Iavro. Here's how those new players fit into the attacking setup for Malampa Revivors in their 4-3-3 formation. Walla Jacob will start on the left. Edwin Bai, who has been predominantly playing down the right, takes up a centre forward role for his team. While the back four is reshuffled, Remy Timas is sitting in there as a right-sided centre-half, and Brian Iavro is in at left back for Pierre Malher, who played the first two games. The other players to miss out are Marcelin Piloy and Pedro Wiss. Well, Auckland City will be very much focused on ensuring their place in the OFC Champions League semi-finals, but also at the back of Coach Ramon Trebulic's mind will be the Sterling Sports Premiership semi-final at Kiwitea Street next week. That could be against Eastern Suburbs or Hawke's Bay United. And if you hadn't recognised the dulcet tones coming through your device, it is, of course, myself, Gordon Watson. I'll be your commentator for this afternoon. We are just a couple of minutes away from a start. In between the two matches, we had a presentation by Auckland City FC of some football gear, playing kits, footballs, training gear, passed on to the Butterfly Trust, a trust that is highly active in development in Vanuatu and the outer islands, very much focused on education. And Auckland City now in their 5th year of relationship with the Butterfly Trust. Vanuatu Football Federation President Lambert Meltock was on hand to be part of that ceremony as the gear was handed over. And I know that it is a relationship between Auckland City FC and the Butterfly Trust that the Vanuatu Football Federation is very grateful to encourage and receive. And while there are charitable acts off the pitch between Auckland City FC and the Vanuatu Football Federation and the Butterfly Trust, there will be no prisoners taken as hostilities are renewed on the field of play. Malampa Revivors have a very difficult task ahead of them. Auckland City FC will want to finish with a 100% record and qualify for the semi-finals with some flourish. Goals have been tricky to come by. They have only scored 4 times in their 2 games, but could so easily have scored more. Your referee for today is from Tahiti. It is Kadir Zatuni. And Philippe Ravel, his compatriot, is assistant referee number 1. Douglas Mete gets the second game of the competition as assistant referee 2. And Rakesh Chandra of Fiji is the 4th official.
17, Edward 5, and number 23, Brian Yarbrough, and the coach of the side is Percy Evell.
Keep your eye on this performance by Auckland City FC, particularly the first 15 minutes, because that has been the crucial points of a lot of these games where they have opened up defences, created a lot of very good chances to score, but failed to take them. And that has often this season led to 1 or 2 issues as Auckland have tried to see games out. Malampa Revivors will be very aware of that. Their main issue today will be keeping goals out. They've been caught out 1 or 2 times. They've conceded 7 goals in 2 games. And there have been a number of defensive blunders here and there along the way, but that steep learning curve will only go to solidify the learnings that they take from this competition and then use in the domestic sphere when they return to Vanuatu. As far as I'm aware, they're the first non-Port Vila team to qualify for the OFC Champions League. And as we saw from Lae City Dwellers of Papua New Guinea, they showed that they've learned quite a bit over the past 18 months since they last competed in this tournament. That can only be something that Malampa Revivors aspire to. Andre Batic stands over the ball. Kadir Zatuni checks with his assistant referees that everything is calibrated, prepped and ready for the next 90 minutes of OFC Champions League football. There was some threat of rain earlier today, but that has dissipated. You can see that the clouds have broken up. That wind that has been with us for most of the week, blowing from right to left as you see the screen from the scoreboard end. It is quite strong, and so therefore I think we've made it through to the end of the Group C competition without too many weather disruptions. And we're underway at Centre Park. Malampa Revivors in their change kit of white shirts, white shorts and black socks against Auckland City FC, who are in their very familiar navy blue shirts and shorts and white socks. Mangere for Lea Lafa, who of course played some of his football with Amical in the 2014 OFC Champions League. Rogers. Belanga, Zubikarai. Darren White, Tavano, who's back in midfield after starting up front for Mangere in the second game. Had a spell with Santos Laguna in Mexico after playing in the FIFA Club World Cup in Morocco 2 years ago. Rogers has been pulled up for a foul on Michael Huri. You can see here Rogers just got caught out and grabbed a handful of Michael Huri's shoulder as he tried to find a way past. Batic for Edwin Bai. Given straight to De Vries, who's going to be looking for a few goals today. It's been a dry spell for De Vries and for Jao Mangere. Daewit Kim. Darren White saw Brian Iavro eye up that challenge, and discretion the better part of valor. Let the ball run on. Timas for John Alec. Now Huri has a chance to move forward for Malampa. Alec with the switch of play. Daewit Kim under control. Harry Edge has thumped that out to the right flank. It's picked up by Dondi Kaltier. Tavano. Rogers spots an opportunity to roam forward. Now Mario Beelan joining in to provide a pivot. Harry Edge. Zibi Karai. Spots Darren White on the overlap. Right idea, execution just marginally off kilter. Edge winning the ball, allowing Lealafa the opportunity to roam. It's another player with a lot to perhaps prove to his coach today. Here's Moreira, cut out. Ishmael Sam doing the defensive work, and Auckland City knocking on the door. Can see here Moreira just checking to see the position of Ryan De Vries, and Ishmael Sam made sure that he got between De Vries and the ball to quell the danger. Sam again, playing it safe. Beelan. Rolls away successfully from Dondi Kalatia. Kim. White. Zibi Karai. Got a very good range of passing. Zibi Karai, as you'd expect from a goalkeeper who's played in La Liga, where the type of football that Auckland City FC play is commonplace, and does demand that goalkeepers have a very similar ability to their outfield counterparts with ball at feet. Murray Wazzy, the technical assistant at Lake City Dwellers. That's a great ball by Harry Edge. Chance for De Vries. Good save, wonderful save by Jimmy Lukai. It was a fantastic pass by Harry Edge. The vision was great in the first place. The technique matched the ambition. And this time Harry Edge opens up on the right-hand side for Darren White. Lealafa joining in. There's a real buzz every time Lealafa picks up the ball. And that's a good ball. Darren White's through. Lealafa to his left. Moreira's unmarked. Oh, and it's gone right across the face of goal, but Ryan De Vries stabs it home, and Auckland City are in front after just 7 minutes. And there you can see, for a man who, along with his wife, Kirsty, is expecting their first child, celebrates in his own inimitable way. Michael Huri was the closest Malampa Revivors defender, and there won't be an easier goal scored by Ryan de Vries. Just the start that Auckland were after. Malampa will look to strike back as soon as possible, one would think. And Auckland City FC very much in the box seat. And the opening moments of this, their final group game. The key here for Malampa will be just sort of what sort of reaction they can put together after falling a goal behind so early in the fray. Timas tried to slip the ball into Andre Batik, but just succeeded in finding an Auckland City player. Hoisted forward by Kim. De Vries showing a lot of interest in this. Michael Hurdy having to manufacture a last-ditch kick out. White. Now, you fear for Andre Batik today. He's going to have to do a lot of legwork without the ball as Auckland's centre halves continue to recycle possession. Every now and then, Dondi Kilatia's coming out to give Batik something of a hand, which he will need. Mangere. He's got Lealafa making a run to his right, and the ball is snaffled off him by Ishmael Edward. Well, Auckland City's relationship with Vanuatu has been deeply connected over the past 3 or 4 seasons in the OFC Champions League and also in the OFC President's Cup. If you recall, there's been 3 major cup finals between Auckland and Amicale, the President's Cup in 2014, OFC Champions League final of 2014 and 2011, and Amicale did defeat Auckland City twice by 1-0, once in Fiji. Here's De Vries meanwhile. Moreira's unmarked. Might fancy a shot, and does, and it's tipped over the crossbar by Lukai. Well-measured shot from João Moreira to test the Malampa goalkeeper. Tavano to the near post. It's flapped at by Lukai, and it's a goal kick. DeVries, that's a very good header for Rogers. Oh, and the offside flag goes up, maybe against DeVries himself. Coming back from an offside position, I suspect. It was a well thought out move. It was a good run by Rogers. And Malampa Revivors just keeping that line nice and tight. Now they're pressing aggressively against Auckland when they get the chance to. That was something that we saw when Leigh City Dwellers played Auckland City. And speaking to Maori Wazzy, he said that the only way for them to really try and cope with Auckland City's possession game was to press in blocks of 10 minutes, 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off. Taking into account that they were going to spend much of the game without the ball, they didn't want to spend too much energy in the opening 20 or 30 minutes and then find that they had nothing left for the final phase of the second half. Alec looking for a run from Michael Huri, who's now only just starting to move forward. Timas, Huri. Oh, that was a tight ball to give Batik. It's well read by Alfie Rogers. Oh, Beelan does ever so well to evade the challenge from Dondi Kalatia. Malampa Revivors still having to do a lot of work off the ball to try and block up passing lanes and channels. Edwin Bai, one of the most exciting players amongst this Malampa Revivors team. Edge. Well, there has been some comment about the condition of the pitch that Group C has been played on. I know, having walked across it myself, that at first glance it does appear to be pretty short grass, which enables a good passing game to roll out, but it is also sand-based, and as such, what looks like should be a surface that's conducive to a nice flat true roll is not always so. Oh, that's a good ball by White. That's a very intelligent run by Tavano, who's now got DeVries and Morera in the penalty area. Rogers. Harry Edge. That's what Auckland City's going to do. You know, they do get into good crossing positions, but don't always look to force the issue. If they can possibly recycle and come back out, that's quite often what they do. Harry Edge again. David Kim opts for a long ball that Ishmael Sam will have to mop up. Lukai. Kalatia for Edwin Bai. Now Batik makes a run forward. It's hooked away by Belanga. And the Auckland City captain runs it all the way back to Zubi Karai. White looking for De Vries. Looking for anybody in a navy blue shirt there, really, to be honest. There were a line of three behind De Vries and Mangere, Beelan and Malampa, who were just looking for any seconds from a deflected cross. Auckland City have a corner. Yeah, just gets his head up to have a look, but he was matched stride for stride by Ishmael Sam. That's very good defending. Taken short, Malampa. Cuts back in, Tavano winds the ball in, and Mangere. Well, he was totally unmarked, João Mangere. Very intelligently worked set play here. You can see there were three players in the penalty area. It was only Michael Huri who was within touching distance of any of them. So Harry Edge and Daewit Kim to the left and right of Mangere. It really was a lineup. Batik. Attack halted by Edge. Now back with Bai. Oh, Tavano beaten. You won't have to worry though, because Malampa couldn't do anything with the opportunity, which is going to be a key element as well, that Malampa Revivors will have to be very concentrated when they do get sniffs of possession in that top third and scrappy passages of play. The decision making after they manage to get a hold of the ball is going to have to be spot on to take any advantage of this Auckland City back four. It's far from impossible, and certainly the track record shows that to be the case, but the margin of error is very, very small. Rogers. De Vries, now Mario Beelan. Dondi Kalatia. Well won by Tavano. Auckland City rebuild the attack. Harry Edge. Malampa Revivors working ever so hard off the ball to try and quell the attack, and Lukai came out with a very carefully applied soft punch of the ball to ward off João Mangere. Now Beelan. And that's a straightforward call for Keita Zatuni. Beelan played this very smartly indeed. Michael Huri had no choice but to knock over his opponent. There are two more group games in the group stage remaining, by the way, to be played out in Papeete, Tahiti very soon. They are between Rewa and Ericor Golden Star. We'll come back to that in a moment as this Auckland City attack takes shape. It's Tavano trying to work himself into a crossing position, and he can't manage to get the ball into the danger area. So those games are Rewa of Fiji against Ericor Golden Star of Vanuatu. AS Tavano, who are in pole position, 2 wins from 2 games, and the host club take on Marist Fire, who began with a victory but lost their second game. So that's a must-win game for Marist Fire. If Tavano can get a draw here, then they will join Team Wellington, AS Magenta, and presumably Auckland City FC in the semi-final draw on Monday. That's a lovely touch by Batik. Walla Jacob trying to work hard for Malampa Revivors and come up with something deep inside Navy Blues territory. Oh, this is a good move from Malampa. And they've got a corner. That's where they're at their most dangerous, and we saw that against Western United when they can get that second run off the first ball that's played in, hold it up, play it back into midfield, and then roll it through defences. They struggled in their first game to really make sense of it, but they've come into their own in that regard as the tournament's worn on. Oh, and that was an opportunity for John Alec. It didn't quite fall for him. Very compelling first run by Walla Jacob that helped set up that opportunity. Good sell here for Malampa. Beelan. Alfie Rogers helping it on for De Vries. Keeps his run going. Hooked over by De Vries. And in the end, Alfie Rogers' attempt to play the ball into space was neither a shot nor a cross, but still it was intelligent combination play. Down that left-hand side by De Vries and Rogers. They've got a pretty good understanding. Rogers has been in and out of the side this season. Last season, it was his first at Kiwi. Oh, and a mistake by Lukai. De Vries, there's a cutback for Lealafa. And deflects over for a corner. Could have ended up anywhere. That effort by the Solomon Islander. Here's De Vries. Almost had too much time to think about it. Cut it back. First touch wasn't great from Lealafa. In truth, the shot was off target, but it struck Michael Hurdy and ballooned over the crossbar for a corner. Whipped into the near post, away by the Vanuatu side. White tidying up, Belanga. Well, Auckland City have pressed Jimmy Lukai again, and it's coughed up possession. Mangere, opportunity. Oh, and he's clipped the crossbar, and it's gone over. You can see here that great work by Mario Beelan to force Lukai into an error, and then the opportunity provided for Mangere wound up out for a goal kick. So just over halfway through the first half, Auckland City FC 1, Malampa Revivors 0. Oh, well, Malampa have got away with one there because Jimmy Lukai was happy to let that ball bounce, and so were his centre halves. There were once again 3 Auckland City players just waiting for an opportunity to put it in the back of the net. Lukai's restarted a counter-attack, and it's come to nothing. That's a good ball by Belanga for Rogers. Little back heel. De Vries has picked it up. Rogers joins in again. 8 players back for Malampa. As soon as that ball goes into their own half. They're all working hard to get in behind it. Great run by Belanga. Now Rogers. Mangere at the near post, too close to the keeper with the cross. And Malampa Revivors always manage to find themselves in a spot of bother. It's a difference in their play from Ley and Western. They don't tend to try and play out too much. Well, sorry, they're not cautious when they're playing out from the back against some of the other teams, but they're trying to do it here and they're getting caught out. Oh, that's wonderful from Lealafa. But the final ball again, not of the quality required. The lead-up work was absolutely stunning by Lealafa, really pulling out all the tricks there. There's a late challenge on Darren White and a yellow card shown by Kato Zatuni. It's Brian Iavro. Look at this. Leaves Ishmael Sam absolutely dead and buried. But the cross was too casual. I think that Lealafa may well have taken an extra touch and then picked out Mangere, who was herring in on his left-hand flank. Half an hour gone at Centre Park. Auckland City 1, Malampa Revivors 0. The goal scored by Ryan de Vries is all that separates these two teams. But so far, this one's gone pretty much according to script. Not that great an expectation on Malampa to win this game. Certainly they've targeted a competitive performance and they want to finish on a positive after 2 defeats in their opening 2 matches. And they've certainly got 1 or 2 footballers in here that have caught the eye. John Alec, the skipper, is one. Andre Batic, who's playing up front, more or less by himself, is another. And Edwin Bai, the number 17, has also caught the eye. Now, don't forget, the OFC Champions League is a vital tournament for Vanuatu football. Their team is qualified for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Korea, thus ending a horror sequence of near misses. Oh, that's a good ball by de Vries for Alfie Rogers, who cuts it across. Mangere, well, he tried to be fancy with a back heel. It was stopped on the line, and now Mika Lealafa has doubled the lead on 31 minutes. And Auckland City now looking in good shape for the final 4. Lovely finish. And he takes the congratulations of Mangere, who helped set the chance up. Tavano does well. Mangere lets it go. Beelan dispossesses Huri. Clips a ball over the top that Lealafa's got the pace to get onto. Lealafa! And it's number 3. Auckland City are well clear. Michael Lealafa has 2 goals in less than 2 minutes.
32 minutes in the game for Auckland City. The goal scorer number 19.
Great vision from Mario Beelan, but look at the grit and determination and pace of Lealafa. Just rolls the ball aside from Jimmy Lukai and then sweeps the ball home beyond Ishmael Sam. And the Solomon Islander, who has played his football in New Zealand and Vanuatu, making a big impression. And Malampa Revivors, who were looking for that positive finish, may well be looking for damage limitation instead. Beelan past Dondi Kalatia. Tavano, flag goes up against De Vries. Lealafa, Tavano's run takes him down into lonely territory. There's only one other Navy Blues player in support, it's Darren White. Oh, Tavano and White just getting on the wrong page as that ball was played through. You could see what was about to happen in terms of the overlap, and now Malampa searching for a way forward. There's Rogers' header. Huri picks it up, then the referee, Kato Zatuni, bang on the spot. It was a handball. It's taken quickly. Rogers, it's a possible hat-trick. Oh, and it's a corner. João Mangere didn't quite connect with it. It deflected off Ishmael Sam and took it away from Mika Lealafa, who was just tucked in behind Mangere. Look at this. There's a strike, and it's come off Ishmael Sam. Tavano might fancy a shot, clipped in. Instead, Harry Edge, number 4. And long-awaited first goal for Harry Edge in the OFC Champions League. He's had to be very, very patient, waiting for an opportunity, and that patience has been rewarded. Tavano put in a wonderful ball. Once again, Michael Huri has kept those 3 Auckland City players on side, so the marking was lackluster, but you still have to apply the finishing touch, and that's what Harry Edge did there. Auckland City disappearing over the hill and far away. Malampa Revivors really finding that the OFC Champions League can be a cruel place. Here's another chance. Good save by the keeper. Jimmy Lukai is going to get a pretty stiff sort of workout here this afternoon. So when he does pull off a save, it's only right to make sure that he receives plaudits for it. Here's the opportunity. First touch was really good from Lealafa. Jimmy Lukai didn't come rushing out. He just held his ground and then stuck out a foot. Mangere. Ishmael Sam just hiding in behind the pocket there and able to retrieve the ball, but Auckland City have won it back. Lealafa, who's been on fire since this game kicked off. He's got 2 goals. Clipped in for De Vries, and the keeper made a careful amble toward the ball and made sure that he got his gloves on it ahead of a player who knows a thing or two about scoring goals, that's for sure. Nice header. Mangere unmarked at the far post. Lealafa clipped in again. The keeper comes out to offer some recourse for a defence that's flailing at the moment. Just an element of frustration here for Mangere, because what's happening in that Malampa Revivors line is that they're too high and he's unmarked and must surely score, and does. Well, he's cut a frustrated figure for the last couple of minutes for reasons I was about to explain, but now that he's on the score sheet, courtesy of a long ball that found Darren White, I'm sure that there'll be a degree of happiness here for the Portuguese striker. Very intelligent look and cross from Darren White, and Mangere made absolutely sure that he tucked it into the back of the net, and now Auckland City are starting to really put their foot on the pedal here and cause issues that I don't think Malampa Revivors are going to find too easy to resist. 5-0. Mangere still onside, according to the assistant referee, keeps his run going. John Alec back offering some resistance. There hasn't been a lot of it, as you've been able to witness for yourself. There's just a golfing class between these two teams this afternoon. It's plain to see. Now, Auckland City FC's biggest win in the OFC Champions League was a 12-2 victory over AS Mondor in 2013. And you just wonder if they're going to be on course to get anywhere near that today. Mangere! Well, he got clattered into. I don't think that there was any doubt that it was not a penalty, but Malampa Revivors are getting opened up almost with every Auckland City attack that goes forward to the halfway line. Rogers keeps his run going. Flag stays down. So a substitution about to be made by Malampa too. As the offside flag goes up there, it's a defensive one. Trevor Lenga will get his first taste of action in the Champions League for his club. And I believe Remy Timas, who's been playing in at centre half, might be relieved of his duties here. Just a minute and a half to go to the halftime break. And it's Auckland City 5, Malampa Revivors 0. Goals for João Moreira. Mika Lealafa has 2, Ryan De Vries and Harry Edge. Ramon Tribulic as well he's to describe him, he's a stickler for detail, as you're probably aware. He'll be wanting to make sure that if this game does start to blow out further, that his team remains disciplined and continues to play the way that they are taught. And there is number 6. Ryan De Vries has 2. And Malampa Revivors sinking further and further without trace at centre park. Beelan very unselfishly picks out De Vries. And takes the congratulations of Mika Lealafa. And this will do the Navy Blues confidence in front of goal no end of good. One minute of additional time added on at the end of the first half, which will be of great relief, I think, to Percy Avick, who's watching his team, his inexperienced team, it must be said, struggle here. Kim's given that away. Picked up by Walla Jacob. Edwin Bai. Dondi Calatia. Now John Alec. Can't recall the last time Malampa Revivors were able to put together 5 passes. They do insist on playing a high defensive line, and it's coming back to haunt them. I just fear for Malampa the longer this game goes on, and if they're going to continue to play that type of a high line to try and press the game, they could be in for a very torrid second half as Keita Zatuni, the referee, ends the first 45 minutes. And it's a story that's been all about Auckland City. In truth, they've managed to find 6 unanswered goals. 2 for Mika Lealafa, 2 for Ryan De Vries, 1 for Harry Edge, and another for João Moreira. Safe to say the result and the semi-final spot are all but in the bag for Auckland. They've done the job with 45 minutes to spare. So let's take a look back at the 6 goals that were scored in that first half. It's been all Auckland. They've been able to get around the back of the Malampa high line. And this was the easiest of tap-ins for Ryan de Vries. You can see Darren White just made sure that he picked out João Mangere, who let it run through to de Vries, and that was 1-0. And that unique celebration marking Mr. de Vries and Mrs. de Vries impending arrival of a new baby. Then Mangere forced this save out of Jimmy Lukai, who tipped it over the crossbar. That was mere respite in a script that just read goals, goals, goals. De Vries cut this back for Alfie Rogers, whipped it across the face of goal. Mangere tried to overdress what was a simple affair, and then it took this finish from Mika Lealafa to make sure that it was 2-0. The Solomon Islander ruthlessly thrashing the ball home. Mario Beelan, lovely technique, lovely ball. Plenty of hunger shown by Lealafa, who teased the goalkeeper and then scored past Ishmael Sam, who was doing his very level best to prevent the ball going in. But matters got worse rather than better. Harry Edge steered this Fabrizio Tavano cross beyond the goalkeeper. He was unmarked. Once again, Michael Huri at the bottom of your picture there was keeping everybody on side. He's not getting off his post quick enough, and Harry Edge made sure that Malampa were punished for the mistake. And then João Mangere joined in on the act. Once again, that space just in behind the left back is being exploited by Darren White ruthlessly. And then in the same position, no doubt, it was Ryan de Vries who swept home Mario Beelan's cross. And it's been an absolutely torrid and difficult first half for Malampa Revivors. So, 6-0 at half-time to Auckland City over Malampa Revivors. More action to describe for you after the break.
Should be 12. I'm sure we'll get it. We'll go double quick. I mean, our record. I mean, walk round past and go, see you later, King. I'm going. Dad's just called me. It would be too good. Where is it?
Hi everyone, it's 6-0 at half-time to Auckland City FC over the Malampa Revivors, and the issue of OFC Champions League semi-final qualification has all but been settled. Auckland City will join Team Wellington and AS Magenta in the last four. The 6-0 advantage that they've carved out has come after a ruthless display of efficiency in front of goal. Malampa Revivors really have found out that there's a massive gap between appearing in this tournament for the first time and winning it 8 times and 6 in a row. So the second half is going to be all about giving players some experience, I would think, from both managers' points of view. Auckland City have already moved to make a substitution. I suspect that one of those may well be the goalkeeper, Daniel Drake, who will get a rare venture out into the field of play this season. Aniot Zubikarai has more or less dominated the #1 shirt, as you'd expect, with a player of his pedigree. The other substitution, Mario Beelan, has been withdrawn and Reed Drake is going to come on. So it is a double substitution. The two brothers who play for Central United in the Lotto NRFL Premier League. And Malampa are really going to have to think very carefully about how they set their line. I think to try and preserve some element of protection to their goalkeeper, if they can just set the line a bit deeper and maybe try and defend a little bit deeper as a group. I mean, the result is without doubt now, of course, it's 6-0, and it's all about trying to restore and regain a bit of pride. If they can try and keep Auckland City goalless in the second half, that might be a more realistic objective, rather than attempting to open up and play them on the counter-attack, which just simply has not worked. David Kim. And Galbalanga. Certainly that will be one approach, and Ryan De Vries has found a way around the back. João Moreira arriving at the penalty spot. I'm fairly sure that De Vries, Moreira and Lealafa aren't going to show any mercy in the second half. They'll want to keep on scoring goals. They have been hard to come by in the domestic competition this season. Rogers, still going Rogers. Can he get the cut back? And Jimmy Lukai dives on the ball. Here's De Vries. Harry Edge. And you can just see that Malampa now aren't even pressing the ball. Just trying to keep the game compact. That line that they're playing, though, is still going to cause them a few issues, because each time they're trying to set it high, the front three for Auckland City are just what you might say, they're cheating a little bit by a couple of yards. They're just lingering, so that when the ball does come into close proximity, they're able to just swing in, get onside, and then make their run in behind the defence, which has pretty much looked all at sea this afternoon. talking about some of the biggest victories in the OFC Champions League. So in 2013, Auckland City beat AS Mondor of New Caledonia 12-2 at Kiwitea Street, but there was also a win over Fiji's Nokia Eagles in 2006, September 2006. In the semi-final, Auckland City won 9-1. If I recall that game correctly, I think Nokia Eagles might have even scored the first goal of that game. Still went on to lose by that horrendous scoreline. Nokia Eagles may have been the competition name of Bar. They played in an all-black kit and certainly haven't appeared on the scene since then. So those are the two scorelines that you might want to keep in mind as this half progresses, if Auckland City are going to keep that same scoring pace up. First touch of the ball for Daniel Drake. Elfie Rogers. Brian De Vries. Now Reed Drake. Harry Edge. Well, there is an element of going through the motions to the start of the second half with the result so one-sided. And from that perspective, it's certainly hard to engender some genuine level of excitement. It is always difficult, of course, when matches go this way. Oh, and there's a mistake by Jimmy Lukai. No one able to punish it in a navy blue strip. And there could be problems here for Malampa. Reed Drake with the run. Still going. Drake with a shot, and he scores. It's number 7 to Reed Drake.
5 minutes into the second half, Auckland City scored.
And he takes the congratulations of his teammates. And the embarrassing afternoon for Malampa continues. The marking wasn't very good, and Reed Drake was able to break from midfield unimpeded. And all he had to do from there was make sure that the shot was on target and that it tested Lukai, and it ended up in the back of the net.
Malampa Revivors. Number 16, Michael Huri, is being replaced by number 18, Pierre Malere.
So Pierre Malere has come back into the fray. Michael Huri's afternoon is over. I think he might be grateful for that. I certainly mean no disrespect to Malampa Revivors when I say that it's an embarrassing afternoon. It's within the heart of any sportsman to take a defeat of any kind with some degree of discomfort, and it's a goal, and it's João Moreira who makes it 8 and becomes the 3rd Auckland City player to score twice today. Leolafa latched onto Harry Edge's long ball. He got round one defender, took out 2 with the pass. Moreira was largely unmarked and just tucked the ball in. He made sure he got it on target. So Auckland City now lead Malampa Revivors 8-0. I was making the point that it's obviously a difficult afternoon for the team from Vanuatu, but you have to start somewhere. And by way of example, if you think back to the first international match that Solomon Islands played, and they lost it 18-0 to Tahiti. Oh, and Lealafa, good save by Jimmy Lukai. It would have been a hat-trick for Lealafa. He just plucked it out of the air. If it had been an inch or so higher, I don't know if Jimmy Lukai would have got to it. This game has certainly opened up, and Auckland City now just stroking the ball around with some degree of ease. Well, we've had only 10 minutes of the second half. Auckland City have added 2 further goals. They lead 8-0. I suspect we're going to see double figures here today. And that was offside, but the flag has stayed down. The linesman wasn't keeping up with that. And hat-trick on for De Vries. And justice is done there because João Moreira was well offside. The assistant referee just wasn't quite up with play, and Auckland City have a corner. Taken quickly, taken short. Lealafa. Oh, he's a wee bit selfish there. Darren White was just sitting off to his left, waiting for a little cutback, but I guess with players scoring goals left, right and centre today, there is a understandable sense of selfishness about players who get into these scoring positions. There's Lealafa, is the hat-trick on. Oh, that's a good tackle and a good save. In the end, Malampa somehow managed to keep the ball out of their net, which they, of course, have struggled to do this afternoon. Lealafa, Moreira, Tavano. Moreira keeps his run going. Nice touch. Reed Drake. Big learning curve here for Malampa. In their second game, they showed that they could play in a more disciplined, structured way. And they restricted Western United to a 2-1 scoreline. But here, this afternoon, they're finding that it's a completely different experience against a team like Auckland City. Well, that was a shout for a penalty, but I think that the referee, Kater Zatunis, probably looked at that and thought better of awarding it. In another context, I'm sure he would have given that. Well, that's a good run by Reed Drake. Could he be in for a second? Cuts it back for João Moreira. It's number 9, and Moreira has yet another Champions League hat-trick. 9-0.
57 minutes into the game, goal for number 17, João Moreira. Auckland City leads by 9 goals to 0.
Well, from a personal, professional perspective, I have had a lot of experience commentating in games in the Pacific where sometimes the scoreline has blown out, but I would dare say that this is still going to get nowhere near my experience of calling the Pacific games when Vanuatu beat Federated States of Micronesia 46-0. Can you believe it? 46-0. I still have to shake my head to believe that that even happened, but it's Auckland City FC 9, Malampa Revivors 0. Half an hour to go. Certainly plenty of time for Auckland to add to the damage if they want to. As it stands, this would be Auckland City FC's second biggest win in the Champions League, 9-0. Overtaking the semi-final win over Nokia Eagles in 2006. That finished 9-1. Of course, Malampa have time to do and say something about that. They could come up with a goal. Pierre Malea, substitute. Lenga, Trevor Lenga. That's really the issue. They just have struggled in all facets of the game. Substitution for Auckland City, Angel Belanga is coming off, and it's Mario Illich who's coming on. So that's all of the Auckland City FC substitutions made.
Substitution for Auckland City, Angel Belanga, number 5, is coming off, and he is being replaced by number 5, Mario Illich.
Captain's armband's gone to Darren White. And Mario Illich, who started off the season with Eastern Suburbs and the Sterling Sports Premiership, Player of the Year in the Lotto NRFL Premier League last winter. And he gets his first taste of Oceania Champions League action this season. Edwin Bai. Some hope for Malampa Revivors, maybe. Andre Batik. There's a cross from Edwin Bai. It's not a bad ball, you know. Darren White deals with it. John Alec might fancy a long-range shot. Blocked by Fabrizio Tavano. Still with Malampa. Let's hope they can create something. Wouldn't it be a nice moment for them to score against the defending champions? certainly give Jimmy Lukai some welcome respite. And there's going to be some welcome respite for Walla Jacob, who's going to be substituted. It's Marcel Mpiloi who's coming on.
Substitution for Malampa Revivors. Number 6, Walla Jacob, is replaced by number 12, Marcel Mpiloi.
Here's Illich. David Kim. Tavano. Darren White. Lee Laffer. White keeps his run going. Tavano. There's space on the left-hand side. Alfie Rogers screaming for the ball. Nicely taken on the chest. There's a cross, and it's a hat-trick for Ryan de Vries, and number 10 for Auckland City FC. Fine finish by Ryan de Vries. In truth, the opposition has been paper thin in its resistance. Wonderful ball in. You still have to make sure that you put it into the back of the net. That's what de Vries did. The marking was lackluster, but this afternoon, that's been the story of the match narrative. And Auckland City 10, Malampa Revivors 0. Well, I hate to break the fourth wall for you, but I'm going to do so. The score graphics can't really handle double digits, so therefore they don't appear on your screen. And as I said before, that's not the first time in my broadcast career that I've seen that happen. The 46-0 game between Federated States of Micronesia and Vanuatu stopped at 25. The graphics are calibrated, of course, through a computer up to a certain number. Don't ask me how that works. I couldn't tell you, but when you get to a certain number, they tend to break down. Now, often software packages are used across different sports. So in sports like rugby union, where those software packages are used, you can get away with some of these bigger score lines, but certainly that's not the case here today. So you're going to have to rely on my counting. I'm pretty good up to about 15. And let's hope for Malampa Revivors' sake that there are no more goals scored. We don't like to see teams suffering the way that they are today. But then also you can't get away from the truth of the matter, and it would also be disrespectful to not tell it the way it is, unfortunately. Ishmael Edward. Ishmael Sam. And Daniel Drake, I think for the first time, has got gloves on the ball. Harry Edge. Reed Drake. Rare times to run, just in behind John Alec. Well, it's difficult to feel anything other than a degree of pity for Malampa. They've still got quite a bit of time to try and see this game out. White. Tavano, Lealafa, lovely exchange of passes. Tavano keeps his run going, cuts back. Mangere just evading the head of Mangere, the cross. "20 minutes of the 90 left. Auckland City 10, Malampa Revivors 0. Oh, and there's a miscue from Daniel Drake. Ishmael Edward. Trevor Lenga. Ishmael Sam. Edward again, now John Alec. A rare spell of possession for Malampa. It comes to a close through Harry Edge. There's a ball played in behind the cross. They've got a corner. Can they pick off a goal? That's the big question. Easily taken by Daniel Drake. Malampa's best hope of a goal here may be for Auckland City to get so casual in their work, because this has taken on the feel and look of a training session for them, that they just take their eye off the ball a little bit and gaps start to open up as Malampa look for an opportunity to get something to cherish. You want them to get something to cherish from this game. That's given away by Reed Drake. Ishmael Edward, here's the overlapping run from Ishmael Sam, but Darren White performing his defensive duties. Illich. Rogers. De Vries. There's Harry Edge. And that's the type of thing that can creep into a game like this where the edge is, the competitive edge has gone off a long time ago. Well, if the camera, you can have the camera right, there's a cricket player who's come onto the pitch, because at the back of Centre Park there is another sports field. It's a public sports field, and a ball has been hoisted over the top. It must have been over the top of square leg, which just happens to be the penalty box at the opposite end of the OFC Champions League action as you see it on your device. So, of course, Kate Zatuni had to stop play. I bet you don't see that too often in an OFC, well, in a Champions League competition around the world. Only in Oceania. Oh, nice skill from Lealafa. And from Mangere. Oh, good run by Lealafa. It was picked out well by Darren White. Lealafa still going. Darren White caught offside. Oh, and Lakai's in all sorts of problems. And it's number 11, a defensive error. Ishmael Sam tees it up on a plate for Ryan De Vries. More despair for Jimmy Lukai. And it's Ryan De Vries' fourth goal.
And Ryan De Vries, the goal scorer for Auckland City.
There you can see Ishmael Sam played it into Jimmy Lukai, took his eye off the ball, was more concerned with Ryan De Vries, and the Revivors suffer further damage. It's 11-0. And that is now Auckland City FC's record margin of victory in the OFC Champions League in a single game. If they can get one more sometime in the next 13 or 14 minutes, then obviously they'll have their biggest margin of victory, the most goals scored in a game in the modern era. Let's not forget there are other OFC Champions League results that we should mention. Wollongong Wolves had a massive victory over Loto Hapai. I think it was in the 2000 edition or 1999 edition. It was 16-0 or 16-1. The OFC Champions League back then, known as the OFC Club Championship. Tavano. Switcher play by Darren White. Healthy Rogers. And a free kick goes Auckland's way. Darren White stands over it. He's got 4 targets. David Kim presents a significant aerial threat. And Reed Drake gets clattered into So does David Kim. It's Jimmy Lukai came out. There might have been a clash of heads between David Kim and Jimmy Lukai. There's some concern over the health of the goalkeeper. João Moreira's checking on him. Yeah, Lukai very bravely tried to reach the ball. Reed Drake and David Kim presented a formidable wall that had to be penetrated, and Lukai, well, he's a brave, courageous figure. We know that much anyway, living up to his reputation there. That attack breaks down. Have Malampa got a goal in them? Can they breach this Auckland City defence that's really been tested today? Oh, and and the offside flag goes up. I thought that because Darren White had got involved, that there might be some respite there for Malampa. That's not to be. Moreira, first time ball for De Vries now. Things opening up. Moreira might get there first. He does. Lealafa's waiting in the middle. And a goal kick. It's difficult to say that it's not gone João Moreira's way this afternoon, given he scored a hat-trick. But he's got a corner. In fact, it's very difficult to measure anything about players' individual performance in a match like this when the collective strength of one team is so much more than another. Tavano bends in across. It's headed straight back into the danger area. The flag's gone up. De Vries was offside. Piloy. Ishmael Edwards. Seven and a half minutes to go. That's a good run by Reed Drake. Pierre Malea doing the defending. Illich. De Vries. Now Lealafa. Is this to be Lealafa's hat-trick? Cuts back inside. Oh, and he's ballooned it over the bar. He could have rolled it into João Moreira. It was a hat trick served up on a plate. Look at this. Cuts back inside. Jimmy Lukai's done really well there to throw Lealafa off, but really all the advantages were with Lealafa and not the goalkeeper. Should have done much better there. Well, I talked about that Mondor game against Auckland that finished 12-2. That was a pretty unusual afternoon. Yet the New Caledonians still managed to get a couple of goals. And very similar circumstances. They were blown off the park in that one. But such is the way these sorts of games tend to go in terms of the narrative that opportunities, weird opportunities, sometimes present themselves. And maybe I'm being optimistic on behalf of Malampa, but there's still some time. Ooh. So, Daniel Drake, David Kim. De Vries is completely unmarked on the left flank. Flag has stayed down. I tell you what, there might have been, yeah, well, their flag goes up now. Ishmael Sam. Ray Drake staying forward. Alfie Rogers. Rogers slips it through. João Moreira over the bar. Not for the first time today. Auckland City shooting boots not quite as sharp as they might well have been. Two and a half minutes of the 90 remain. As the final vapours of this one peter out. Auckland City FC lead 11-0. So the toughest, harshest lesson of them all saved for the very final game for Malampa. it's one they won't forget in a hurry, I'm sure. And how Lukai managed to get out of that situation, I'll never know. He's had one of the toughest debuts in OC Champions League history to date. Nariel Maliu was quite outstanding, particularly in the second game for Malampa Revivors, but there's been very little protection offered to Jimmy Lukai. He's pulled off 2 good saves that I can remember, one off Mika Lealafa that he just plucked out of the air with one hand, and then the save from Mangere in the first half. But apart from that, it's just been a wave of navy blue attacks and goals to go with them. Still some history here for Auckland City to make if they're feeling ruthless enough to do it. They can equal the most number of goals they've scored in a single game. They're still one short of that. Here's De Vries taking on Pierre Mangere. Got an armband, an arm elbow, and what looks like a boot. Just 3 on the wall for Lukai. Darren White to take the free kick. And he was going for a shot himself. You can hardly blame him, I suppose. Lealafa. A chance for Lealafa for a hat-trick. Cuts it back, and Mangere can't untangle the ball from his feet, and the opportunity goes. And there it is, full time in a game that's amounted to little more than a training run for Auckland City in the end. They've won by 11 goals to 0, 4 scored by Ryan De Vries, a hat-trick to Mangere, Mika Lealafa grabbed 2, Harry Edge and Ryan De Vries, Reed Drake, 1 apiece. And it's been a difficult afternoon for Malampa Revivors, but they'll look back on the first 2 games of the competition with some degree of satisfaction and happiness that they've been able to step onto the field and compete at all with teams from Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. Auckland City have confirmed what we thought they would do prior to kickoff, and that is take their place in the last 4 among Team Wellington and AS Magenta. There's two games to be played in Tahiti, and AS Stefano will be going for top spot. Maris Fire could have something to say about that. Of course, they are in a position to knock AS Stefano out of that slot. Let's take a look at the goals from that second half. Reed Drake came on as a substitute, picked up this ball from Fabrizio Tavano and slotted home. He very rarely gets an opportunity to score too many goals, but that was a well-finished strike. And then Mika Lealafa, once again, round the back of the defence, picks out Mangere, who tucks the ball in just past Jimmy Lukai's right-hand post. Fine finish, and that was 8-0. There were 3 more goals to come. Reed Drake was in the thick of the action here. Cuts it back, and Mangere sweeps the ball home. That was a hat-trick for the Portuguese striker, and 9-0. The punishment was far from over. Good run here by Alfie Rogers. Cuts the ball back, and Ryan De Vries unmarked makes it an even 10. And his 4th goal. this was a complete and utter disaster, one that Jimmy Lukai would rather forget. Took his eye off the ball, was concentrated on his opponent, Ryan De Vries, and he sweeps it home and offers some degree of conciliation there. But in the end, Auckland City FC far too good for Malampa Revivors. It's finished 11-0. We've just got the post-match interviews to conduct. Ramon Tribulic is on his way to our interview spot, so stand by for that. There's Albert Riera, who I'm sure enjoyed his day off. He's got some action in the Sterling Sports Premiership. In the semi-finals next week, presumably against Eastern Suburbs or Hawke's Bay. OFC TVs with Ramon Tribulic.
Ramon, that was an 11-0 game. How did you find your boys' potential with a no score from the opposition?
Look, I think the first half was competed, you know, especially the first probably 25 or 30 minutes, and then after we went probably 3-0 up, they probably gave up. It's understandable, you know, you feel sorry for them, you know. I think we played a good game and we kept our standards high. We talked about keeping the standards high for the second half, you know, half time, and I think the boys did that, played a very good game, and very happy with that performance.
What are the weaknesses that you have learned from the opposition that you guys will be looking at the next match that you guys are heading into?
Yeah, weaknesses. I mean, it's difficult to find weaknesses today in today's game. You know, I think, again, you know, we knew that sometimes playing these teams is a bit difficult because they play the game in a bit of a different way. They've got that individual skill that can, you know, it can be difficult to defend sometimes. But I think, again, we played a good game and we're happy with that. And now move on, and you know, it's just one game. It doesn't win anything, this game. So we need to move on and stay tuned up for what's coming.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, not too much that Ramon Tribulic can say in a game where his team has won 11-0. Other than to be satisfied that the semi-final spot has been booked for his team. Those fixtures are to be played on April 8th and 15th. The draw for that semi-final is taking place tomorrow, Monday, when the identity of all four teams will be known. OFC TV has Malampa Revivors coach Percy Avick sideline.
Should we go?
Okay, where you go? Recording? Yeah.
Was the fitness affected an impact to the no scores?
Tu sais, fitness. Ok. Donc elle demande est-ce que le physique aujourd'hui a eu un impact sur le résultat du match?
Le physique, en premier mi-temps, on maintient l'équipe. On va aller chercher un moment. C'est vrai que le physique, là, il va jouer son rôle. Mais je pense qu'on est tombé sur une équipe qui est vraiment costaud. Pour nous, c'est des premières expériences qu'on vient ici en Nouvelle-Zélande. On peut rien dire. C'est notre premier pour participer dans la Ligue. Et pour nous, c'est vraiment difficile pour nous pour affronter des équipes comme ça. Il faut qu'on fasse beaucoup d'expérience, beaucoup de matchs internationaux. Voilà. Pour moi, c'est pas de regret. Mais il faut qu'on repart chez nous, qu'on travaille dur pour revenir dans le championnat en Ligue, pour rejouer.
What were the weaknesses that he saw in the game that needs to be improved?
Donc, quelle a été la faiblesse aujourd'hui de ton équipe et que tu devrais améliorer pour la prochaine fois?
Pour la prochaine fois, pour améliorer notre jeu, il faut qu'on travaille beaucoup, il faut qu'on fasse beaucoup de matchs à l'extérieur. Et aussi, il faut qu'on fasse des recrutes. Là, on est venu, c'est un loco, on commence à voir c'est quoi la Ligue. Ben voilà, justement, je n'ai pas de doute, mais le seul truc qu'on veut, c'est peut-être revenir sur le même niveau des équipes qui jouent dans la Ligue.
Okay.
Voilà, merci.
Merci, thank you.
Okay, that wraps it up here at Centre Park in Mangere. The OFC Champions League Group C has come to an end, and Auckland City have qualified for the semi-finals alongside AS Mangere and Team Wellington. More to unfold in Tahiti, of course, tonight, and then Monday is the draw that will reveal who plays who and in what order over the two legs. I'm Gordon Watson on behalf of OFC TV, Auckland City Football Club and the Mangere Sports Association and Oceania Football Confederation too. Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you hopefully again in the semi-finals.